What is going on, guys? You're here with Nate. This is Crossbeats production, and thank you for tuning in. As you can see on the screen here, I'm pretty pumped because I'm excited to see that Plugin Alliance and Purple Audio are connecting to each other in the sense of making a plugin that Purple Audio have got a hardware unit of. We're going to go through a few things here on this particular video, so I want to review the plugin, give you guys an audio example. If you go down to the timestamp below, you'll hear that audio example by clicking on that timestamp. Otherwise, let's go through some of the features of this particular plugin and take it from there. So guys, you see on the screen here, this is the actual hardware unit. You can see it's quite a nice looking unit. Also, on a note, as far as facts are concerned, I believe that Purple Audio created this because at the time when they were looking for 1176s, they couldn't find reliable units that they could use continuously without having to repair or maintain these units. So they decided to create their own version of the 1176, which became the MC77 limiter amplifier, which you see on the screen right now. As far as I understand, this was a creation of the D, or in between the D and E versions of the Universal Audio 1176, and they created it with that in mind to make a more reliable unit. So this is quite interesting that Plugin Alliance have actually stepped out to use the Purple Audio version rather than the Universal Audio version. And I like the fact that they added in some features that, that Brainworks are really key on doing as well. So let's go to the plugin itself. You guys can read the manual and go through that in your own time, but I just wanted to go through an audio example and kind of what this plugin can do, some of the features of it, and take it from there. So first off, as you can see here, the standard stuff you'd see on 1176, you've got your input gain, your output gain. Obviously, the input is driving the compressor, so the input goes to the threshold, and then the output is controlling how much volume comes out of the compressor, if you don't know how this works. So that's quite simple, input and then output. You can actually link these together now so you can level match the best you can. It's not perfect, but it definitely does level match. In the trials that I've done, it hasn't been 100% perfect in level matching, but let's just get to how it sounds anyway. So we'll forget that for now. You've got your left and right channels. So this would be a stereo pair in the sense of you'd normally have one compressor, which is mono, and then you'd have two if you want stereo. So that makes sense. Your attack and release settings are here. So that's kind of normal to this compressor. All the way to the right is your fastest for both. So you got fastest release, fastest attack there. And then you've got your ratio settings here. Metering, which is obviously available there, so gain reduction is currently what I've got it set onto. You can turn this on or off, so that's your bypass there, and it leaves it engaged here as well. So kind of neat that they've done it, I guess, true to the form of the actual real hardware. So this would be like a click button. You'd hear click, and then it'd be on or off. So the TMT version here, this is kind of what's going on for the Plugin Alliance side of things and Brainworks in essence. This is something they use for their console emulation, which allows you to control, two different channels and have variants in between those channels. And it kind of gives you a unique sort of sound to your mix, which a console would do as well, or just general different hardware would do, because you're not going to have the same hardware unit for each hardware unit that you have. So that's kind of what that's doing there. You get analog and digital, so it's kind of cool. So I kind of like that they add that in there. You've got the mid-side processing. So this is giving you the ability to put your first channel here, which is mids, and then the second channel in sides. So that compresses things, for example, like your kick or your bass, everything that sits in the mono channel. Your sides are the sum of two channels put together. So you've got, you could have your reverbs or things that are being panned left or right on the sides. Then you've got the ability to go high pass filter here, which is really cool. I like the fact that you can do that. You've got the mono maker, which is awesome. That allows you to mono make. So for example, you've got 20 hertz here. You can go up all the way to 2 kilohertz and make that mono or whatever you want in between that. You've got your stereo width control, which allows you to either widen or narrow the track, which I really like the fact that Plugin Alliance put that on there, because it just really helps when you're trying to mix and you want to get your drum room, for example, you want to get that into mono, or it could work at anything. Like, it's just really helpful to have that kind of thing. And you've got parallel compression here, so you can mix your wet and dry or anywhere in between with the compressor right there on the dial. So this is the sidechain link. I'll let you read that in the manual. It talks about that in there, but it's pretty much the sum of channels. So it allows the compressor to equally compress or unequally, depending on how left and right channels are working. And then you got key in as well. So This is really neat. Parameter links as standard or professional, so I believe that would be the parameters here. Yeah, that's pretty much it there. Sorry, proportional. I shouldn't say professional. Proportional. So yeah, it's kind of cool that they've got the ability to go through and emulate this particular hardware unit. And I want to see how it sounds on this particular mix as well. So let's have a listen to that and check it out from there. So first off, I've got this beat. I'll just unsolo so you can hear what the beat sounds like. We'll bypass the compressor and we'll check out this beat. All right, so you can hear it's like a trap style beat. I thought it'd be interesting to hear this compressor on that because it's maybe not the typical kind of thing you put this compressor on, but maybe worthwhile doing though. So first off, let's activate this compressor and see what we've got on the functions here. We've got a preset. We'll just go drums parallel and we'll see where it goes from there and have a listen to this compressor. It's obviously giving it the all buttons in mode and smashing those drums. So we'll see how we go. It's quite interesting. I have a limiter on the end here just to prevent any clipping in the mix. But that is really an interesting kind of sound. It definitely smashes the drums like I expected it would. That was all buttons in. So let's have a listen to just the 4 ratio. So number 4 ratio, that's 4:1 ratio there. I had this going with parallel because I didn't want to go entirely smashed. It just sounded like it was sucking the life out of the drums. But we'll have a listen to that on the bass as well because I'm really curious to see what that sounds like on the actual bass and maybe the instrument as well, just like that kind of piano type thing. So we'll check it out. Let's go and check this out. Okay, so we're not perfectly level matched, and I can't really be bothered to try and do that because, I mean, it's not all about level matching. Sometimes it's just about the feel of the track. But in the scheme of things, it sounds to me like this compressor, the attack and the release settings work really well. They've emulated them very accurately, so that's what I feel like. Sometimes in compression, in the scheme of the, I guess, digital realm, it's very difficult to actually emulate the attack on a compressor without it making sound weird, if that makes sense. The compressor really does work how I would expect the hardware unit to work. It's probably not going to add the actual harmonics that the hardware unit would add as far as, you know, the analog harmonics. But it's definitely going to give you the sound that you're after if you want to, you know, get that smash sound with your drum kit. So let's have a listen to what it does to the bass. I'll just bypass that in general, and we'll get to the 808 side of it. I'm really curious to see how it affects the 808, just because of the way I like to compress 808s in general. So let's have a listen to that, and we'll take it from there. Interesting how it's affecting the transient on the 808. I really like how you can manipulate the sound of the 808. If I was to print this out, it'd probably be pretty obvious to see what it's actually done to the source of audio as well. But this is an interesting compressor. I really like how you can control so much and so many features are available to you in this compressor. It definitely does help you in the scheme of mixing a track and to get to the right kind of where you want to be as well. I guess it's independent. If you want to look at we'll just compare the SE version. So we'll look at this one as universal audio version, just to compare it. It's not really going to be a fair comparison, but I just want to see what this actually sounds like in the scheme of things. So let's have a listen to the 808 and we'll go from here. So you can kind of hear how that's compressing. Again, it just makes it so much easier when you've got things that can link together, so you don't have to worry about trying to figure out where the input gain should be and then the output gain and level matching. Sometimes it just helps to have the actual feature right there in front of you, like you saw on this version of the plugin. I'm definitely key. I love that sort of stuff. I love how Plugin Alliance make things just more simple, faster to get to the actual thing that you want. It definitely helps when you're in the scheme of trying to mix and make everything work. So without further ado, my review of this, I really think it's worth checking out. If you like this particular plugin or you like the 1176 sound or the compression that it gives, this is a really good viable plugin of that particular Purple Audio actual hardware unit that exists. So I guess it's a lot cheaper than buying the hardware unit in comparison. If you had the cash to buy the hardware unit, would I buy it? I probably would. But that being said, you could use this plugin on multiple channels where you'd have to have multiple thousands of dollars to be able to do the same thing with one hardware unit versus having 20 instances of that hardware. So in the scheme of things, maybe this is a cheaper option. It will probably achieve very similar results in your mix as well. So hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, remember to hit that thumbs up, like the video like I mentioned, and subscribe to the channel because it really does help me out in growing this channel. And hit the notification bell so you get all the new updated videos that come out on this channel. And I thank you guys for watching. Catch you on the next one. Peace out.